Hello, good evening to everyone, dear authors and invited guests. Hello, ma'am. Hello, Ruchi, ma'am. Can we start?
Yes, hello, ma'am. Thank you. Yes, you can start.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Right. Okay. Dear authors and invited guests, welcome to technical session 3E. I am Riddhi Gohel, the moderator of this session. You can contact me in chat box if you have any questions or any query. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 6th International Conference on Information and Communication Technology for Intelligent System through Zoom. Moreover, as you know, we have been dealing with new normal situations as we recover from the pandemic. Hence, the conference has been shifted to a hybrid mode. We hope you will enjoy the knowledgeable and interactive session through the day. We also hope to have at future physical version of this conference. Also, there is a special note for the presenter. You will be given a 7 to 8 minutes for the presentation and 2 minutes for question answer. On 7 minutes, I will raise a gentle reminder. And I request while the presentation is going on, other participants kindly be muted. And another request to all, please stay connected with us until the closing remarks. Just before we get started, I would like to introduce to all our chair of the session, Professor Ruchinanda. Hello, ma'am. Good evening. Welcome you to the technical session 3E, 3C, sorry.
Thank you, Riddhi. Thank you.
Okay. Just a second, ma'am. I would like to introduce a short intro about Professor Ruchinanda. Dr. Ruchinanda is working as an associate professor and research supervisor in the Department of Computer Science and IT at IIS deemed to be University, Jaipur. She has actively contributed in teaching and R&D for the last 17 years. She is also a member of the Board of Studies. She received her PhD from IIS deemed to be University in the field of cloud database, SQL, NoSQL, and MapReduce based. She has published and presented a number of papers at national as well as international levels. She is also guiding couple of PhD scholars. She is also reviewer for many journals. She has also coordinated several workshops and seminars. She is also remote center coordinator of Spoken Tutorial IIT Bombay and add-on courses in web design and technology in the university. Okay, now I would like to invite our first presenter with your consent, ma'am.
Yes, sure, you can start.
Okay, ma'am, sure. Our first presenter is Nandini Dubey, and her paper title is on agriculture app development using machine learning and deep learning, a review.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, good evening, ma'am. You can start your presentation and please stick to the time limit. It is a 7 to 8 minutes to for all presenter.
Could you enable the screen sharing for participants?
Yeah, sure. Just a second. You cannot share the screen.
No. Yeah, now I can.
Okay. You can.
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. Today we've gathered here for the presentation of our paper, which is titled as Agricultural App Development Using Machine Learning and Deep Learning, a Review. The paper ID is 181 and the group members are Janvi Chavan, myself Nandini Dubey, Govind Kotecha, Paras Shah, and Pranali Kosamkar. So agriculture, as we all know, is a branch of science that deals with soil cultivation, crop and fruit production, and livestock rearing. Since it is an old trade, farmers are initially very hesitant to adopt to new technologies, and they tend to stick with the tried and true procedures. However, in today's world, we cannot deny the impact and benefits of technology, and the advances in science have made it possible for even the farmers to grow more crops and raise more livestock. Hence, farmers, like all other businesses, can benefit immensely from the technological improvements in order to become more efficient. So we have studied the features and functionalities of around 25 apps, the functionalities that these apps provide to the user. Along with this, we have studied more than 40 papers which were related to our topic to gather more information. Out of these papers, we've listed 4 over here. So the first one is agriculture drone for spraying fertilizer and pesticides. In this paper, the authors have proposed a UAV model, which will be helpful in spraying chemicals over the crops present in the fields. The next paper is IoT, deep learning based prediction of amount of pesticides and diseases in fruits. This was published in 2020. And in this paper, the authors have developed a system which gives information about the disease and the pesticide value present in fruits. Along with this, the system also gives information about the harmful effects that the presence of pesticide can cause to us. All of this information is given to the user via a mobile application. The third paper is MDFC ResNet, an agricultural IoT system to accurately recognize crop diseases. This was also published in 2020. And in this paper, the authors utilized deep learning and IoT technology to develop a comprehensive understanding of crop disease recognition. Apart from identifying the disease, the system also distinguishes between the different disease stages. The next paper is crop disease prediction and solution. This was published in 2021. And in this, the authors developed a method for the identification and classification of diseases which affect the crops. After studying all these papers and going through all the applications, we observed some limitations that these things had. So the first gap that we could identify was that some systems were developed either for a single crop or for a very limited varieties of crops. This is a very big limitation when it comes to practical applications. The next thing is that the IoT system can be improved to a greater extent by incorporating the use of sensors. Because when we use sensors, we can collect more data, which will further help in improving the accuracy of the crop disease recognition model. Some applications can be expanded further to include modules like pesticide recommendation, fertilizer recommendation, etc. And some systems can also include features through which they can alert the farmers about the presence of disease in their crops. Even though there are solutions like high resolution cameras installed in the fields or use of drones are present, however, these solutions can prove to be very expensive for the majority of farmers and hence is not that useful. Some models do not reveal the values of temperature and humidities of the area where the crops are being grown. And this information can be used by farmers to plan and manage the crop output more effectively. Many applications lack the ability to calculate the crop output based on the environmental factors. Now, next thing to discuss is the technologies used in existing systems. The first one is CNN or convolutional neural network. CNNs give a very high accuracy in image recognition problems, and they can automatically detect the important features without any human supervision. However, it does not encode the position and orientation of the object. Next is RNN or recurrent neural network. RNNs can model a collection of records so that each pattern can be assumed to be dependent on previous ones, and they are even used with convolutional layers to extend the powerful pixel neighborhood. However, training a recurrent neural network is a very complicated task. The next is support vector machine or SVM. SVM outperforms other machine learning approaches when it comes to classification, and it can be used to analyze and segment images of grains, fruits, vegetables, etc. However, this does not perform well when we deal with a large data set, because then the training time required will be more. And also, it doesn't perform very well when the data set has more noise. The next algorithm is random forest algorithm. In this algorithm, many trees are created on the subset of the data, and then output of all the trees are combined. In this way, the problem of overfitting is reduced. And another good thing about random forest is that no feature scaling is required. However, when this algorithm creates a lot of trees and combines all their outputs, it requires much more computational power and resources. And also, even a small change in the data leads to a reflection of a major change in the algorithm. Now, this is the proposed system for detection of diseases in crops using CNN. So first of all, we'll have our image data set. This data set will be split into training and testing sets, after which the image will undergo pre-processing. Once the image are pre-processed, they will be smaller in size and higher in resolution. Now, the model will undergo training and testing. Once the model is trained and tested, the data will undergo classification, and then the results will be generated. What we'll get in the results is the unique disease name that affects the crops, and this information will be given to the farmer via a mobile application, after which the farmer can take the necessary steps to minimize the disease percentage. These are all the references listed for the papers. Thank you.
Can you come to your review of literature slide?
I'm sorry, could you repeat?
Can you come to your review of literature slide?
Yeah, sure.
You have given a very good comprehensive presentation.
Thank you.
You have identified the algorithms also, right? Like CNN,
Yes.
SVM, IoT based, some deep learning. So
Yes.
in which algorithm you want to propose the changes?
As in which algorithm should
Yes.
we
Have you
modify,
identified?
or which
Yes.
algorithm should be used? Are you asking that?
Okay. So you will be using the hybrid approach?
No, for our project, we'll be using different algorithms, and then we'll be using CNN, SVM, and some other algorithms of deep learning. After that, we'll test their accuracy, and based on their accuracies, we'll finalize which algorithm will be the most suitable one.
Okay. And what about the data set?
The data set that we'll be using is an image data set only. It's publicly available. It consists of more than 10,000 images of crops, affected, healthy, all types of images.
Okay. And have you checked the citations type? Because you have mentioned professor, doctor with the author and publication details. So I don't think so. This is as per the citation style of the journal.
Yeah. This is just
correct.
the names of the authors.
Okay.
In the last slide, I've mentioned the proper citation.
Okay. In this also you have mentioned referencing style you have to check.
Okay, fine. Okay.
That you can do it.
Yeah, okay.
Otherwise, okay. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nandini, for your great presentation.
Thank you.
So, okay, our next presenter is Manjunath R. Hudeki, and his paper title is Performance Evaluation of Biharmonic Function-Based Image in Painting Approach.
Yes, good evening, madam. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah, let me share my screen.
Yes.
Hope you're able to see my screen, right?
Yes, it is visible, but please, can you please make full screen?
Yes, you're able to see the screen, madam.
Yes, it is visible.
Can you open in slideshow view? Slideshow.
Yeah, it is on slideshow only, madam.
No, it's not slideshow.
No, at my side, it is.
You can stop once share screen and again you can try.
Let me try it.
Yes.
Wait. Is it okay, madam, now?
Yes, it is okay. Perfect. Go ahead.
Thank you. So, good evening, all the panel members who present for this particular presentation. So, myself, Manjunath R. Hudgi, research scholars My other group members are Dr. Sridevi Soma and Dr. Rajkumar L. Biradar. So I'm pursuing my PhD under the guidance of Sridevi and Rajkumar sir. So for this particular presentation, so I'm going to present a paper on title Performance Evaluation of Biharmony Function Based Image in Painting Approach. So in my presentation, in my presentation, so I am going to cover all these topics: introduction, literature survey, problem statement, design of the proposed work, and the fifth one, well integrated Monarch butterfly optimization based deep convolution neural network. So in fact, this is not part of our presentation, but I need to summarize the results what we have obtained from this paper so that we can understand the proposed method, that is sixth point, performance evaluation of biharmonic function based image in painting approach. So at the end, we will see results and discussion, conclusion and references. So let us see what is image inpainting first. So image inpainting is the process of removing unwanted objects from the image, or it refers to the restoration of the original image. So the image inpainting concept can be better understood by using these figures which I have put in the slide. So there are 4 frames over here. So in the first frame there are 2 images. The first image is input image and the second image is output image. So in the first frame, we can see there are so many scratches in the input image. So those scratches can be removed using image inpainting technique. And we can see that the inpainted result in the second image of the first frame. Similarly, if you take the second frame, in the second frame, the first image, if you see, it looks so dull and blurry, right? So we can make it uh, uh, wait a minute. So we can make it, we can enhance the overall resolution and we can remove some of the scratches on the image and we can see the inpainted image in the second image of the second frame. Similarly, if you say the third frame, so third frame is a video is converted into frames. And if you see the first input video, so there is a man behind the lady. So we have removed that man using image inpainting technique, and the inpainted result we can see in the second image of the third frame. Similarly, the fourth frame is the result we have obtained from our proposed methodology. In the first image, there is an object, there is a battery in the image, and that battery we have removed using image inpainting technique, and that we can see in the second image of the fourth frame. So using these diagrams, I guess we have understood what is this image inpainting concept. So let us see what the applications of image inpainting. So image inpainting technique can be used in image restoration, for example, removal of scratch and text removal. So it can be used in photo editing, maybe object removal. So it can also be used in image compression, image coding and recovery, and very important is infrared cleaning. So in recent years, it has been applied to visual effect production. So in the film industry, so this is a major application where we can use so visual effect production, so image rectification and so on. But the conventional methods of image inpainting face the problem of data loss regarding the object as well as its background. So the object which we want to remove as well as the background. So where the conventional method face the problem of data loss. So the main aim of this proposed method is to develop an optimal technique which performs inpainting with greater accuracy. And the accuracy and effectiveness of the proposed method is analyzed and compared using evaluation metric like MSC, MSSSIM, PSNR, SDME, SSIM, and UQI. So these are the performance metrics we use normally when it comes to image processing. Okay, literature survey. So I have added 4 papers over here. The first paper, the author name is Jindi and Bai, has proposed a method called as a patch sparsity based image in painting algorithm. So normally it works under 3 phases: generating grayscale image, patch priority, and patch sparse representation. The techniques used in this particular paper is faces deduced directional derivative matrices, exemplar based image in painting, and faces deduced derivative constant. what key results they have obtained out of this paper is, out of this method is, the algorithm shows improved patch sparsity and patch similarity performance. But what are the drawback? The problem with this particular method is failed in the consideration of texture part of the image, which results in poor inpainted results. So let me highlight. Normally, a image contain both the texture as well as structural part. So many image imprinting technique, either they concentrate on the texture part of the image or they concentrate on the structural part. So this particular method, they fails in consideration of the texture part of the image. That is what we are going. That is what they have got a poor imprinted result when the image contains a larger texture part. So the PSNR and SDMI and SSIM value, what they have got for this particular method is PSNR, that is peak signal to noise ratio, is 19.24 decibel. Second derivative like measurement enhancement is 70.61 decibel, and structural similarity is 0.935, what they have got for this proposed method. So in the second paper, the author Gorai has proposed a method called as the MRF based image in painting technique, so which works under three phases again: group based patch selection, patch refinement, and modified MRF optimization. So it uses technique called as a k-means clustering algorithm, and it also uses a higher order singular value decomposition method, and it also uses MRF technique. So this method had reduced the search time needed for the candidate patches and neglected the irrelevant patches. So this is very good advantages.
Sorry for the interruption, sir.
Yes.
You have last 2 minutes, so please.
Pardon? Pardon, madam?
Yes, you have
Stick to the
last 2
timing.
minutes. Yes, stick to the time, sir. You have last 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. So, yes, okay.
Yes.
So directly I will go to the implementation. This is the design of the research work. So in the middle part, if we see, this is the proposed methodology. For our proposed methodology, we are going to give the input image, and the final we are going to get is inpainted output image. So this is the simple design of the research work. So this is very important. So this paper we have well integrated Manoj butterfly optimization we have already implemented, and we have published in one of the SCI journal also. The major drawback of this particular method is, so when we use KNN algorithm, if you see the right side, we use a KNN algorithm, in the left side we use a DCNN, and the output of both the DCNN and KNN will be taken together, and we combine the result of both, and finally we are going to get the reconstructed image. But when it comes to KNN algorithm, normally KNN works on patch match based method. So when it comes to patch match method, the major drawback of this particular method is it uses patch match method to fill the corrupted part or removes the undesired object of the image. If the crack is connected in between two patches, this method will not reconstruct the image effectively. So this is the major drawback we have identified out of this paper. So to overcome this problem, we have proposed the next one, that is uh, uh, DKS, that is hybrid approach of image in painting using bias probabilistic based image fusion. So if you see the third part, that is construction of harmonic image. This is where I am going to present in this particular paper. So this is the performance. The topic is performance evaluation of biharmonic function based image in painting approach. So in order to overcome the problem of patch match based image in painting, where it does not address the problem effectively, when crack or undesired objects come under connected region of two patches. So we require an application which performs smooth surface completion to perform smooth image in painting. So biharmonic function is one such technique where we can perform smooth surface completion. So in this method, the term V0 is considered as a neighborhood outside the region C. Meanwhile, the data inside the region C is missing. The main purpose of this image inpainting is to extend the functionality with the region in such a way that the extension of the missing region is not watched with the human eyes. So from equation number 1 to from equation number 13, these are the mathematical models we have used for biharmonic function to perform image in painting. So directly I will go to the result and discussion results what we have obtained out of this particular method.
You can just tell the results and your observations.
Yes, yes. Directly
and
I'm
just
going.
compare it with the previous work.
Definitely,
Just
madam.
conclude all the things in 2 minutes, right?
Yeah, definitely. So these are the database I have used for our method. Data set one, Corel 10K contains 10,000 images. Similarly, data set two contains again 10,000 images, and data set three again contains 10,000 images. So this is the results what we have obtained. The first row, if you see, this is for data set one, and if you see the second row, it is for data set two. In the data set one, in the first image A, if you see, there is a aeroplane in the image, and that aeroplane is removed using our image inpainting technique, and the final output we can see in the image D of the first row. And similarly for data set 2, there is a cat in the image, right? So that cat is removed using image inpainting technique, and finally the final inpainted result using our proposed biharmony function we can see in the image D of the second row. So this is what we have got the results. So we have used different performance metrics to analyze the performance of our method: PSNR, MSC, SSIM, SDME, and UKI. So what we have obtained the result. So the row contains domain size 30, 40, 50, 60. So biharmony function is similarly like sine function or cosine function. So in sine function also we used to have a amplitude and all, right? So similarly, even in biharmony function also we will have a domain range. So when we have a domain range for 30, so the what MSC we have obtained is 0.0800. So MSC is nothing but mean square error. So as MSC increases, so the error in the images decreases. So similarly, if you see the PSNR, we can see the values for PSNR, SDME, SSIM, and UKI. This is for data set one. So similarly, this is the graph the same, the tabular format we have represented in the form of graphical way. So this is for data set one, and this is for data set two, what we have obtained the results. So for the domain size 30, so the MSC we have got is 0.060, 0.0601. But similarly, if you see for domain size 60, the value we have obtained is 0.0242. So by our proposed methodology and analysis, we can analyze, we can conclude that, so during the experimentation we come across analysis that the proposed method gives better results when the domain size is 30. So if you see, when the domain size is 30, if you see all the values, so MSC is 0.0601, so it is better when it comes to when the domain size is 60. Similarly, PSNR, it is in fact inversely proportional to MSC. So as PSNR increases, the error in the images decreases. So similarly, if you see for a domain size 30, the PSNR normally decreases. So that is, so as it decreases, the so error in the so in the images also increases. So this is what we have obtained the results out of this method. And finally, these are the references. So that's it. So if any queries, so please let us know.
Okay, now what is your future perspective regarding your work?
Madam, I have already implemented a couple of papers. So now in the future work, I am concentrating on the video in painting. So normally, when it comes
Yes.
to video in painting, the difficulty is we have to convert that video into frames, and we also maintain the characteristic between the two frames, because the frames will togetherly make a video, right? So we have to maintain the continuous characteristics between two frames. So that is where I am working currently.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, nice presentation.
Thank
Nice
you,
present.
madam. And
Yes.
madam, I have a couple of queries. So when I am going to get this certificate and all, because I have a open seminar, my PhD open seminar presentation on 3rd May. So before that presentation, so if I get the certificate, so it will be beneficial for me.
I think that Riddhi ma'am can answer you. है ना?
Yes, yes.
है
So
ना?
you will get your presenter certificate in within 2 days through email.
Okay, and what about the kit and all, madam? Whether you are going to send me the kit
That
and
you
all
can
for
ask after the session.
You can chat box. You can ask in chat box
Oh,
for
okay,
further
madam.
queries.
Thank
No?
you very
Huh.
much. Thank you.
Huh.
Thank you.
Whatever you are having queries, you can write in chat box, each one of you.
No
Okay.
issue, madam. No
Yeah.
issue. Thank you.
We
Thank you.
All
are
the
moving
best.
our
Thank
we
you,
are
madam.
moving our next presenter, Heta Dasnondi, and her paper title is on a proposed blockchain-based model for online social network to detect suspicious accounts.
Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
And I think my screen is visible.
Yes.
Yeah. May I start?
Yes. You can
Yeah.
start.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. So I'm Heta Dashondi, and today I'm presenting my first paper that is a proposed blockchain-based model for online social network to detect a suspicious account. And I'm from Ganpati University. So today I'm covering my introduction, literature review, research cap, problem statement, research highlight, model, and conclusion. So let's start with the introduction. So basically, first of all, I'm clearing that I'm taking my Twitter data set. So in recent era, online social network have become very huge platform for interaction to one another and share their thoughts and information, right? So with the use of online social network, user could easily contact with their friends and making new friends and client, and most important, that is a business communication, because after COVID this is very much important nowadays. So there are so many platforms like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and so many things, right? And when it all increases, same simultaneously attack is also increases. You can see nowadays cyber cyber activities are increased so much, and so many ways, like you can say a fraud, or you can say images way, so many way it is increasing day by day. So Twitter is one of the Twitter is one of the prominent source in online social network which attain better popularity nowadays. So working and concentrating and detecting a cyber oriented attack in online social networking like Twitter. So here I'm finding a spam account, compromise account, fake account. So there have been numerous features access to detect malicious user in the Twitter. So they totally based on Twitter, tweet based, network based, and behavior based. Okay, so let's come to the literature review that I have already studied. So my first paper, that is my hybrid approach for detection of malicious profile in Twitter. So here I'm finding the main problem, that is they can detect malicious profile with the aid of Chrome extension only. This is the main thing, that is they only concentrate on a Chrome extension. But nowadays people can access their Twitter anywhere from any devices, right? So that is the main problem over here. So what I'm proposed for my paper, that is that it is suitable for any web browser, because in a real-time world people can use it from their phone, tablet, laptop, anywhere, and any extension for their Twitter, right? So this is the first thing. Second thing, I'm also concentrating on weekdays and weekend days Twitter, because as you know that in weekend there are more number of people can use the Twitter. Now let's talk about my second paper, that is a blockchain based access control management for decentralized online social network. So here is the main problem, is the author is using the context information such as location and time. So as you all know that user location context is always a dynamic one, because people can use it from anywhere. So it is a chance to detect a legitimate user as a malicious one. There is a chances that you can misguide that legitimate user. So even the second point in this paper, that is they also challenge response using a signature operation by verifying private key in the sense of they can take a password, personal information, and random messages. So what I proposed over here, that is I'm considering the user ID, IP, location, and time parameter for the user, and I pass it on to the trusted authority to verify the legitimate user by the use of to verify IP address, password, location, time, and ID. Now let's talk about my third paper, that is structure-based cyber detection in social network via local rule and propagation. So in this paper, the local feature are considered to detect a cyber attack in the Twitter. So local features are number of followers, number of following, retweet, hashtag. They all doesn't detect the cyber attack accurately. So what I'm planning is to accuracy level increase in this paper. So I concentrate on such features like tweet, network, and user behavior to detect a malicious user accurately. For that, Sesame Net algorithm is suitable. Now let's talk about my fourth paper, that is IPM Information Privacy Assessment Metrics. So in this paper, sorry. Okay. So in this paper, information privacy is provided by forming the constant questionnaire. So as you all know, sorry. Okay, as you all know that questionnaire. Ma'am, may I continue?
Yes, continue.
Okay, so as you all know, the questionnaire is very in a large form because Twitter itself a very huge platform. So questionnaire become it's very difficult to maintain over here. So what I'm proposed over here that to provide privacy through performing the different privacy on the user data, to performing privacy, we provide user posted content on online social network. Like we posted audio, video, images, and so on. Next is deep profile finding and fake profile finding, right? So in this paper, they are using CNN, and for that they are classifying only and only fake profile. They are not also considering a spam account, compromise account, nothing. They only and only consider on a fake profile. So what I'm planning by the use of Sesame Net algorithm, I'm finding compromised, fake, and spam account. The next is spammer detection. So in spammer detection, behavior related features are not considered to detect fake and spam. Like as in previous, they only identify fake. Over here, they only identify fake and spam. So here also we consider on fake, compromise, and spam by detection of online social network. So next is research gap. So in this research gap, what I found is like as
sorry for the interruption. I'm sorry for the interventions of that voice. You have last 2 minutes for your presentation, ma'am.
Okay. Ma'am, can I switch to my model so I can explain it?
Yes, you
Yes.
can.
Okay, fine. So I'll directly switch to my model. So this is my basically a model. So first I'm taking my Twitter data set. Then I pre-processing with the normalization, integration, binding, and missing value. Then it goes to the deep learning session. Over here, we bifurcate the data with the two things, weekdays and weekend days. Then after it switch to the calculation, then we're finding normal account and suspicious account. If I'm done with my suspicious account, then what I'm trying for normal account is to inform the legitimate user. But currently I'm not working on that. I'm currently working on suspicious account only. Then after they are taking private attributes, noise implementation, and I'm using KNN algorithm. Over here, the main concept is user related features and user entity features. So what is basically a user entity and user related features? That is a main point for my research. That is I'm considering for ID, password, email, location, number of tweet, number of followers, number of following. They all are considered in this parameter. After that, they identify fake, compromise, and spam. Then it goes up to the trusted authority. That is the third party. They maintain all this thing with include blockchain. So over here, you can see if it authorized request, if they check ID, password, location, time, and IP. If it all's perfect to the legitimate one, then they grant, or if it is not, then they abort. If they all by maintained by blockchain. What they maintain, that phone number, email, location, ID, and password, they maintain by the blockchain only. If it is all perfectly fine, malicious activity, malicious user alert to legitimate user. If anything happen, then legitimate user can be informed. This is my proposed model. And over here, with the use of blockchain, with the use of KNN algorithm, what I'm finding, my normal account, fake account, compromised account, and spam account. Sorry, and these are my references. And thank you.
Can you tell me about the implementation details? How will you implement this?
No, ma'am, this is, I'm just on my starting phase. So currently I'm not implementing anything, at least for the now. This is just my
but
structure that I'm going to.
you have created this proposed model. So आपने कुछ सोचा तो
Yes,
होगा
ma'am.
इसके how you are going to implement it, keeping in mind the things. Then you
Yes, ma'am.
है ना?
Yes, ma'am. Like I'm basically concentrated on the parameters, as I told you, that is location, ID, password, and all that thing, with the use of Sesame Net algorithm, KNN algorithm, and deep learning algorithm. I'm taking all three and then process with the, because ma'am, in this I have to, bifurcate each and everything with the use of algorithm like softmax algorithm, or you can say F algorithm, and then after filtering out, and then I'll come to the all four bifurcation.
How will you get the database?
Ma'am, that is thing I have to search on it, because ma'am, Twitter is such a huge number, so I have to update with myself. So that is I need to figure it out.
Right. And what about blockchain?
Ma'am, blockchain is the thing that is maintained by third person, not by me.
Yes. Okay.
So that is not that much
but when you
part of
experiment
my research.
No. But when you experiment
No,
it, then you have to simulate it, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Then how you will perform that?
Ma'am, I'm really sorry. I'm not able to answer this.
No issue.
Because I have no idea about, because I'm not in that implementation phase currently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good presentation.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
All the best.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Heta, for your good presentation. So our next presenter is Sangeeta Patil, and her paper title is on analysis of EEG signal using machine learning for prediction and detection of stress.
May I share the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is it visible?
No, it is not visible, ma'am.
It is visible now?
Yes, visible.
Okay. Good evening, all. Myself, Sangeeta Patil. Now I am just presenting the paper that is analysis of EEG signal using machine learning for prediction and detection of a trace. We are the 5 members, that is Tushar, Kaushiki, Pratik, myself, and Rajni ma'am. We have published this paper. Now the significance of the research paper, that is the mental trace is one of the serious factors that lead to many health problems, such as to increase the risk of heart attack, depression, and hypertension. Hence, it is important to monitor and control trace level on a regular basis to detect the trace in early stage and prevent any harmful impact on the health. And that's why we have just wrote this paper, published this paper. The abstract of the paper is actually India has nearly 74% people are suffering from stress during pandemic situation. And that's why I'm just focusing on this topic. The major purpose of the paper is to improve the mental health of the person with the help of latest technology
to predict and detect the level of stress in the person, which can be classified as low, medium, and high, so that it can inform the user about its unbalanced health, and hence suitable treatment can be started for betterment of the personal health. And that's why we have just published this paper. Now there are various methods are available for stress detection with the help of electroencephalogram, that is EEG. Second one is using electrocardiogram, that is ECG. Third one is electromyography, that is EMG. Fourth one is a pistol emission thermography, that is PET. Out of this, I am just focusing on EEG because EEG signal is more accurate, precise, and reliable for analysis point of view. Similar way, its cost is low. And that's why we are just focusing on EEG signal, which is a better option for stress detection. And next point is, based on that, we are just defining some objective for research paper. First object is to find out the technology for taking input from medical device, that is EEG. Second objective is to collect the data from different sources. Already some sources are available in internet, and now for future we will try to focus on real-time database also. Then third is to decide the correct algorithm. There are number of algorithms are available. Out of that, we want to choose the correct algorithm and classify technology. Fourth objective is to evaluate the performance of proposed system. Fifth objective is to predict and detect the trace in human being to alert and prevent the future disease. Now next, the methodology we have preferred, that is, first we are considering the EEG database. There are two options, either in a readily available database, otherwise real-time database. We have already done the work using database taken from the internet. And in future, we will just study the same thing we will apply for real-time database also. Then next one is a pre-processing unit, feature extraction unit, classification, and then according to that, we are just identifying the level of the trace, either it is low, medium, and high, like that. Now, next one, one by one, I will explain each block. First one is a EEG database. We have taken the database from internet, that is EEG ERP data set. They are collecting the data set with the help of 64 electrode, and they are taking sampling frequency of 256 hertz for duration of 1 second. We have just referred that data set. Then that data set is having the 5 bands, and that 5 bands, actually EEG spectrum is split into 5 bands. First one is a delta band. Its range is 0.5 to 4 hertz, and it is related to the deep rest state of the mind. Then delta range, it is from 4 to 8 hertz, which is related to relaxed state of the mind. Alpha range, it is from 8 to 15 hertz, which is related to calm and balanced state of the mind. Next one is the beta range. It is from 12 to 30 hertz, which is related to active thinking state of the mind. Next one is a gamma range. It is above 30 hertz, which is related to problem solving of the mind state. In this fashion, there are different states are there, but in our case, we are focusing on stress, and that's why our interested area is alpha and beta. My interested range is from 80 to 30 hertz, and that's why I'm just focusing on that range. First, I will consider the EEG original signal. Now, this is a EEG signal is available from the data set. Actually, this original signal having the large frequency range, and along with that, it having the unwanted noise also. The main problem of EEG signal, it having the unwanted noise, and this unwanted noise is due to various factors, such as a power line interference as well as a momentum of the movements of the subject. In this fashion, because of this, there are huge number of noises there, and that you must reduce. And for that, we are just using the next step, that is pre-processing stage. In pre-processing stage, we are just using FIR filter and to design the FIR filter in the required configuration. Actually, this is our desired FIR filter, and we are focusing on our desired signal that is from 8 to 13 hertz, that is alpha and beta range.
Which
Then
tool you have used for this?
FIR filter.
Okay.
With the
Is
help
it
of
available?
yeah, in MATLAB.
Okay.
Through MATLAB, I'm just taking this filter, and this is the origin, just original alpha and beta range. I'm just convoluting that thing, and I'm just getting the finite signal here. And then that signal is a finite signal, which is a desired passband as well as it is noise free. And then I will just proceed that signal for further calculation. Then next step is the feature extraction. Is it okay, madam?
Yes, yes.
Okay, to ensure
I'm sorry,
satisfactory.
Sangeeta Patil, for the interruption. You have last 2 minutes.
Okay, okay. Okay. To ensure satisfactory result, we are just focusing on the specific features such as mean, max, mean, variance, energy, power, etc. And for that, after that feature extraction, we are just going for the various classifier, that is SVM, KNN, and LDA. Out of that, SVM is more accurate, and that's why we are focusing on SVM for our project. Next is a different out of that classifier, we are focusing on SVM classifier. Again, SVM having different kernel functions such as a linear, quadratic, cubic, fine Gaussian, medium Gaussian, like that. And in that case, we are just using MATLAB classifier learner app. Then we are just measuring the performance of the classifier in this parameter with the help of confusion matrix as well as the scatter plot. These are already we've done this part. Now this is the result of our project, that we are SVM model with the various kernel functions we are applying, and we are just getting this result. And here we are getting a result more than 90% with the SVM classifier. And the conclusion of the project, it will help the doctor to make an accurate diagnosis. It will decrease the risk of several brain problems caused due to the high stress, and this stress detection method will benefit to wide range of age group. You can apply it. Now, future scope for this is we can just going for the real-time database. Just now we are just referring the internet database. Now we are going for the real-time database, and then we will vary the time varying functional dimension, the different things we are EEG parameter we are getting. We will vary and we will modify the task. And again, we will proceed with the help of deep learning for more improvement in the accuracy. And these are the various references. Thank you.
So from where you have taken this data set?
From internet, I will just show that. Just look. EEG/ERP dataset, database available on net.
Okay, it is freely available.
Yeah, it is freely available.
Or ERP.
Yeah.
How many records are there in this? How many?
Around 3,000 records are there.
Okay, and how did you split it for training and testing?
Yeah, 70% for training and 30% for testing purpose.
And how you assume that SVM is the best? Because you have written there SVM.
Yeah. We are given to the various classifier and we are observing that.
Yes. How?
MATLAB.
No. In next slide. Come to next slide. Next. Where you have written SVM. Yes. Back. You have written that SVM has more accuracy than other algorithms.
Yeah.
So you have implemented k nearest neighbor and
linear. Yeah. We done that part. But time limit is less. Already that is mentioned in the paper, but it is not presented here because time limit is there. Actually, all that thing is mentioned in the paper.
Have you presented the comparative analysis also?
Yeah. That is in the paper.
Okay. Then it is fine. Right. very interesting topic and nice presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So our next presenter is Jayesh Kolhe, and his paper title is Crop Decision Using Various Machine Learning Classification Algorithms.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, you can start it.
Ma'am, is it visible?
Yes, it is visible.
So, good evening, one and all present over here. Myself, Jayesh Kolle from Pimpri Chinchwad College of Engineering, along with my team members, Guru Prasad Deshpande and Gargi Patel, with our mentor, Dr. Rajni PK. So, we are here to present give a presentation on the topic crop decision using various machine learning classification algorithms. So talking about the outline, so we'll start with the introduction, methodology in which the block diagram, algorithms, parameters, the results, analysis and conclusion, and finally we'll end up with the references. So the aim and objective. So the aim is that to choose the best machine learning algorithm for the crop decision. And the objective is that the first to study and implement the various machine learning algorithm using Veka software. Second, to evaluate the machine learning algorithm based on the parameters. Third, to finalize the best algorithm among the various machine learning classification algorithms. So now starting with the introduction. So as the agriculture is the backbone of the country's economic development. So the decision of the crop is the most fundamental and important decision for every farmer. So we have done a comparison of various classification algorithms, supervised classification algorithms based on the parameters, which is presented in this paper. The algorithms which we have used are k-neighbor nearest, decision tree, support vector machine, logistic regression, and random forest. The analysis is done using a software named Veka, which is an open source software. The dataset which we have used is from the Kaggle, which has the parameters like NPK, temperature, humidity, pH level, and rainfall with the labels of 22 crops. So the many parameters such as RMSC, precision, recall, TP rate, and FP rate are used for the prediction. So now talking about the methodology. So the data has been collected from the Kaggle software. Now the data has been cleaned and then it has been splitted into the training and testing, in which 80% is given to the training and 20% is given to the testing. After that, it has been analyzed with the various algorithms in the Veka software. And after that, we came to an prediction and the conclusion has been displayed. So the algorithms which we have used in this paper are the supervised learning algorithm. So first one is the logistic regression. So it is good for the binary classification as well as the linear relationship of the data problems. The model can be generalized to data with the categorical variables which are having more than 2 values. The activation function which we have used, which is used is sigmoid function. So second one, random forest. So random forest, it is good for both classification as well as the regression. So this algorithm is based on the ensemble learning. It predicts the final output based on the majority votes of the prediction. The third one is the Navier Bayes. So the Navier Bayes algorithm is based on the Bayes theorem. So it uses the predict based on the probability of an object as it assumes the occurrences of a certain attribute. So here is the formula of the Navier Bayes. So now fourth one is the k nearest neighbors. So here the k in the algorithm, it refers to the number of the nearest neighbors. So it saves all the present data and classifies a new data point based on its relation to the existing data. The method which is used in this is the Euclidean distance to find out the distance between the old and the new point. So this is the formula for the k nearest neighbors. Fifth one is the support vector machine. So it works well with both regression as well as the classification. So the every data item is an n-dimensional attribute space where the n refers to the number of attributes. So the minimizing the classification error and the maximizing the marginal distance of the two classes is done by the hyperplane as it separates the data. And the final one, the sixth one, is the decision tree. So it uses the logic. The decision logic is modeled by a decision tree. It constructs the model in the form of the tree, where it builds a decision node at each step. So now the parameters which we have used for analyzing are the accuracy, F1 score, precision, true positive rate, and the false positive rate. So true positive. So what it means? It means the model was correctly classified in a positive class. True negative, it means the model was correctly classified an observation in the negative class. False positive means the model classified an observation to the positive when in reality it was actually negative. False negative, it means the model is incorrectly classified in the observation as the negative when it should have been classified as the positive. Accuracy, it is the ratio of the number of the correct predictions upon the total number of predictions. Precision, it answers the question that what proportion of the positive identification was actual correct. So now here is the comparison of algorithms which we have done from the Vecka software. Here is the result. We can see that the random forest and Navi's Bayes has got the uh, best accuracy, like which is 99.3182, and for Navi's Bayes it is 99.5455. Same as the TP rate, the RF and NB has got the highest one. Talking about the root mean square error, the least one is for the Navi's Bayes, which is 0.02202, and the random forest is 0.0231. So here is the graphical analysis of the accuracy. So it is the accuracy comparison, precision comparison, recall comparison, and RMS comparison. In this, we can see that Navi's Bayes and random forest has got the best results. So now coming to the conclusion. So we can so now coming to the conclusion, the part of this presentation, it can be concluded that all the algorithms are implemented and the comparison is done with respect to the parameters. Also, the analysis driven from this comparison is that the random forest and Navi's Bayes gives the best accuracy with the minimum error among all the algorithms. So future scope. So we are thinking of an IoT hardware software in which we can get our own data, so that we can take the data and process it with the algorithms which we have shown that which has got the best results to give the better predictions. So these are the references from which we have done the. So this is the Kaggle link which we have taken for the data set. Thank you. So I would like to thank ICTIS for giving us the opportunity to present in front of all of you. Thank you.
Beautiful presentation, very nice presentation. Everything is included in the presentation. And what are you doing?
Ma'am, we are third year ENTC students.
Third year?
Electronics and telecommunication students.
Okay, okay. No, your presentation was excellent, and you have used Vecka, right? And
Yes, ma'am.
are you planning to do or use any language?
Yes, ma'am. We are
Apart
trying
from
to
yes,
implement
because
the algorithms on the Google Colab just to check all the comparisons. Like, are we getting the same results or not?
actually, because when we talk about like UG level, yes, you can go for Vecka, but later on, if you want to enhance or you want to take this research forward also, then you have to use certain language or some platform which can give more better results.
Yes,
So
ma'am. Surely, ma'am.
okay. All the best.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Jayesh. So our next presenter is Prashant Watts, and his paper title is CNN-based neural networks for tumor detection using cellular pathological imaging for lobular carcinoma.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir, you are
Yes.
audible.
Very warm good afternoon. Very sorry. I'm very, very sorry. A very warm good evening to all the dignitaries who are present here. Thanks a lot, ma'am, for providing me the opportunity. My screen is visible to you.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay. Very warm good evening. Ma'am, my name is Dr. Prashant. We are here to present a paper that is based on the convolutional, you can say, neural network based tumor classification, in which we have used the cellular pathological imaging for the breast carcinoma, that is lobular carcinoma, that we also call it. So, in neural network learning techniques, there have been several models that have been presented with the convolution network. So, when we talk about with the large data sets only, so their applicability or you can say appropriateness can be determined. Specifically, when we talk about the clinical and pathological pictures of the lobular carcinoma, so there has been a large number of random formations and textures when you use to analyze those images, or you can say the MRI scans or the breast scans that has been performed to detect the, you can say, these carcinomal cells. So working with these scans is a difficult problem in machine learning. So focusing on, you can say, with laboratories, numerous studies have been published, and you can say fresh commentaries are still in process and in investigation. During our research, basically, we have provided a framework that can effectively work onto the raw photos of various resolution, you can say, while easing the issues that has been caused by the you can say pattern reading and the texture recognition into the image part of your breast scans basically. So the suggested approach, they have given good findings that can be used to make decision in the diagnosis of cancer. As we know that the cancer is one of the you can say uh, one of the major, what I would say, is the cause into the mortality and fatality rates we have seen in the recent years. And due to the changing lifestyle of people, this trend of getting developed with the cancerous cells, and you can say recognition of this with the increase in this disease has been on rise due to our changing lifestyle. So, in the diagnostic procedure, or you can say for the detection of cancer, early, if it can be detected in the earlier stages during the scans and the what you can say the procedural lab reports, then diagnostic procedures can be performed to further to prevent the further spread. So categorization of individuals having cancer, or you can say not surviving with cancer, can be a matter of rigorous investigation and examination. So the crux, you can say, in the breast cancer particularly, which we have studied, is the major concerns that are related with the investigation of new, you can say, magnifying ranges of those cellular pathological imaging pictures, that which area is to be categorized, that in which you can say infection is getting spread to a particular body part. So it is time consuming, and it leads to many pieces of research into the area. So we have basically, you can see, in context of planning, we have basically factorized the correct time, appropriate treatment, then culturing of the cells, now providing the valuable information data sets that can be collected for the investigation purpose. So, during our study, we have carried out a literature review of some of the earlier work that has been done by the various authors in this area, where basically they have worked onto the image recognition process, in which diagnosis is mainly done into the preliminary analysis based on the image classification, and you can say recognizing those areas, that in which area they can identify that this is a malignant tumor and this is a beginning tumor. So malignancy of the mammary tissue is called carcinogenesis, basically, which is due to the severity of the malignancy in which the uncontrolled growth has been taking place into a particular region of your cell body. So deep learning has been also used. We have seen the conventional histological approaches with various variability. Uh, Digital radiographic systems are generating with vast picture dimensions and then raw depictions of your clinical image scanning. So using the computer learning algorithms, how we can classify that into the advanced stages of technology, these how they can be used to basically diagnose the earlier procedure. You can say the earlier detection of this particular disease. So in this, we have used the cutting edge artificial technology to basically help the medical diagnosis to provide a computerized evaluation of your pathological sample that can speed up the detection and reduce the processing time. We have been you can say we have differentiated the study into two kinds of visuals, where the scans that we have obtained from the laboratories, or you can say from the diagnostic centers which are performing these sort of tests. So we have classified the cells into you can say the disease into two types, basically, which are into the earlier stages. Mean to say the cancer has been cancerous cells has been just starting generating, or you can say replicating themselves. So that is called as myeloid tumor and fibroadenoma, or you can say the tubular adenoma, which has been an event of malignant imaging. And the later stages are there where the cancer is been recognized onto the you can say second stages, or the later stages is considering as lobular carcinoma, ductal carcinoma, papillary carcinoma, or mucinous carcinoma, where basically depends upon the classification of muscular cells, or you can say their growth into particular region. These things can be categorized. So we have basically used the digital binary classifiers to basically identify this area. Regarding to proposed work, I would like to take you to our research paper in which we have basically proposed the model. uh, this is the model that we have proposed. I think it's not visionary. Let me take you to the images, where we have class. You can say applied the classification. It's you can see over here two images in which the first figure, if you can see, we can see the breast cancer screening, which are into the beginning stages, and second stage, you can see that this is the particular area that has been classified with the specimens as malignant, in which the particular area of a breast part has been infected with the uncontrolled growth, in which the cancer has been scattered to a particular path. So we have taken these sort of various dimensional images like 222 by 222 pixels, which have been fed into a you can say digital convolutional neural network structures of 1 by 92, 1 by 92. And if I can take you to the results, these are the results that we have obtained while categorizing these cancer signs. And further classifications of these cells, if you can see in this particular figure, if I can share you with this on screen, so you can see the classification into the basically when we are analyzing the image using the convolutional neural networks, that how the classification is been applied in terms of you can say recognition of those particular areas into the images into which the you can say the we can say that this particular region is having the possibilities of those cells that can possibly cause, or you can say that can be possibly declared as the tumors, and then they can be categorized with this thing. These are our results, ma'am, that we have obtained while during the classifications, in which we have provided the perceived values, and then we have got the you can say progressive values
Sorry
based
for
on that.
interruption, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
We are running out of time, so please conclude your
Okay,
presentation.
okay. Okay. So basically, I'm coming to the conclusion. In this research, we have provided a deep convolutional neural network consisting of four levels that is consisting of you can say detecting the histopathological pictures of malignancy, that is using the different sizes of pictures and filtering out the unnecessary portions of images in which you can say you can focus onto a particular area while reading those scans, and then you can predict that how you can study the fundamental and structural and morphological characteristics of the carcinomas into various varying frequencies of these layers. So this model sensitivity, you can say for different cases of histopathological breast cancer has been substantially greater than predicted, posing a major challenge. So these are the references that we have studied, ma'am. So any question in this regard, you are most welcome to ask, ma'am,
So
please.
you have presented your work very nicely. Um,
Ma'am, thanks a lot.
huh. So you are into this field only?
Ma'am, actually, we have performed this investigation since last 2 years. We have been studying this particular area in which we are concerning with IOMT as well, that Internet of Medical Things, how that thing can be applied in this particular area, particularly for the detection of breast cancer, and then patient records can be made available for the you can say historical purpose, or you can say based on the timeline basis into which patients you know it very well, ma'am, that cancer is a disease which requires a prolonged you can say a long treatment, I would say a long duration
Right,
of
right.
treatment. So based on that, suppose if person has been detected with an earlier detection of malignant tumor, in that case, suppose in the earlier stages they have been controlled with the medicine, but later on stages, if still some portion of the cells has been left behind, then
Actually,
there
actually,
are chances that this disease can be spread to the other parts of your body as well.
actually.
So, so jumping onto chemotherapy is the later on stages before providing you the radiological isotopes, which we call as radioisotopes, in which iodine-based therapy has been provided for the cancerous parts.
Okay,
We have interacted with various patients that you can say how they have been feeling, consulted with the doctors that how you are going to recognize those pictures, and you can say with the based on uh, currently available the technology, how they can be improvised with this. So we are still going on in this, ma'am, and definitely we will come up with good results if you can say if we continue the research. And definitely this is a basically a gray area which I would say that needed to be focused to get the research done on them. So this was it, ma'am.
so
If you
you
can
are
ask.
associated with this. So you are
Ma'am,
associated with this any other.
I have been associated with my students actually. They have been investigating the projects. We
Okay,
have a team of some researchers as well from various organizations which we are doing research onto the different data sets that we are trying to obtain from the you can say clinical laboratories, research labs. Sometimes we used to go to the hospitals as well for you can say validating the data, because
okay.
until and unless you validate and verify your results, so that
Actually, this is
cannot
the
be
main
predicted.
for health
Uh,
diseases prediction. This is the major concern nowadays. What we are
yes,
looking
ma'am.
for
Yes,
also,
ma'am.
and
Yes, ma'am.
so you are dealing with I mean this cancer and breast cancer related things or
Ma'am,
other
we have
diseases.
we have focused last paper we have carried out onto the pancreatic cell as well,
Okay.
pancreatic related tissue as well. Indra, there is an Rajiv Gandhi Cancer Research Institute here in Delhi, which we are
Yes, yes.
associated with, and
Okay.
Dharamshila Cancer Hospital is also there.
Okay.
And we have been trying to approach other you can say hospitals as well to basically collect the data, and then further we can we can say you can say broadify our result,
Right.
sorry, the area of investigation of this thing, ma'am.
And you, where you are working
Ma'am, right now I'm associated with the Indira Gandhi Delhi
in
Technological
the.
University in women, for women in Delhi as in a visiting
Okay.
faculty over here.
Okay.
So where
Right.
we have been this thing. We are provided with the research labs to do the research in this particular area.
in this
And we are
area?
doing onto our own as well, ma'am, because you can say running to hospitals and then coming back with the data
Right.
and then analyzing those data onto the various tools. It's been time taking, ma'am.
Okay. Very nice presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you
Yes.
so
Next.
much. Yes. So next presenter is Kanti Singh Sangher, and her paper title is Implementation of Threat Detection Modeling with Deep Learning in IoT Botnet Attack Environment.
Is it coming properly, ma'am? Is it okay?
Yes, it is. It is okay. You can start.
Okay. Thank you so much. So myself, Kanti Singh. I'm working in CDAC Noida as Principal Technical Officer, and I have worked in digital forensic projects. And so this is one of the work that I have done. For this particular research work, I have used the IoT dataset, CTU13 dataset, and I have implemented the threat detection modeling using deep learning techniques. So the main research work is actually focuses on finding the different digital artifacts that are actually nowadays, because everything is related to the IoT devices. So like all the home appliances, everything is smart. So each and every thing is actually using the internet based on the devices. So this research work is actually basically it focuses on the network capturing. This is you can call it as a network forensics work, where I tried to capture all the HTTP response that was available on the traffic at that time when the attack happened in any IoT devices. So that type of data I have utilized in my work. And the attack was actually the Mirai botnet attack was actually catered here in my research work. So it is actually a very traditional malware, so that executes code in different type of IoT devices. And so on that type of malware, I try to execute, because it is very common. It is very frequently it affects so many different type of devices. And what is exactly the outcome, or what is advantage of this research work is that this type of IoT forensics, where we can find out the different deep learning technologies, which can give us the better accuracy, so that we can make the preventive measures, that if something like this type of traffic occurs in our network, okay, we can capture the pattern. We can take the preventive actions, measures based on our previous analysis. So the IoT forensics and this research work will help to detect the botnet attack, and it will give a very strong and strong defensive environment to the IoT devices. Now, basically the methodology here I have applied is actually that if there is any IoT devices is working in our offices or in home. Okay, so what happens? Let's take example of CCTV cameras or anything which is functioning with the help of the internet, and which is a device itself. So they are, if they are using the internet, now drone are also like that. So many devices are there. So they are very vulnerable, because they the basic functionality is they are designed, developed so that they can give us so many different type of features. They have designed in such a way that they are the manufacturing agencies, they basically try to focus on more and more on the features, not the security aspect. So they are very vulnerable, and that is actually the benefit for the attackers. So because in the botnet type of, where the small codes, robots, software robots that are called botnet that enters the network and compromises the devices through the small piece of the code, and it actually targets using the DNS servers. So through the network and data analysis, actually what we can do is, we can, like for example, in my research work, I have used CETU 13 botnet data set, which was actually captured for such a type of large, from the large traffic network. Okay. And this was actually it used 13 phases of execution. So the data was very large data set, and each phase is actually a sample of malware was analyzed and the parameters were extracted, features. So the data was very nice, and the PCAP file, the packet capture file, that was that stores all the packets that was traveling within the network. It contains net flow, all the data that is flowing in the network, net flow packets, web log information, all the log files, syslog files, and the network was actually captured using the Wireshark. Wireshark is the completely open source tool. I have used this the analysis purpose also. So this is a very nice open source platform. This platform was used to capture the data set, and the net flow that was available in the data is actually divided into the unidirectional and bidirectional net flow. So the advantage of this is that the bidirectional net flows are actually, they have more detailed class labels, each and every source, destination, IP address, every part of the data will be actually well defined. More information about the logs you can get. That's all the differentiation between the client and the server side. And the feature set found from the analysis of the Tori botnet. This is actually, I can say that one of the digital artifacts that I have recovered from the infected device is that from the HKey local machine. This is one of the registry path that is given here in this machine, because in every digital device there will be a small OS will be installed in Windows or in any type of devices. So there will be a registry. So in this registry, where we can search for if any Tori like botnet infects the IoT devices, where we can find out the traces. So we can find out the traces from the local machines. We can find out the traces from the current user. All these are actually from the registry path. That is not human readable format, but with the help of the forensic tool, we can get the key register values, path, everything from the user. So these three are actually useful to collect the digital evidences from the Tori botnet attacks in the IoT environment. And the string used for spawning processes, both legitimate and spawn. Yes, sorry.
Sorry for the interruption, ma'am. You can please conclude your slide, please.
Okay. So the privileged to gain access to the privileged administration framework. So all these are actually the path in forensics. What we do, in forensics actually we analyze once the crime has happened. The next thing is, in forensic we try to analyze, we try to find out the traces from where we can get the artifacts. That artifacts will be helpful for us, so that we can harden our security infrastructure within that particular path, for that particular file, for that particular folder, so that next time if something like that happens again, our system can detect that intrusion and prevent that prevent itself from that attack. So attack patterns, parameters, all were used, okay, using Mirai or Tori, using different type of botnets in the IoT environment. So these features are extracted and then combined in the data set. All these are combined in the data set, and this data set actually covers all this type of artifacts, and this I have used for the, I have applied using the deep learning techniques. First, actually, there were two phases. In the first phase, means we applied, means my guide, she has guided me, Dr. Archana Singh. So two machine learning approaches in the first phase, that is support vector machine and KNN, to find out the accuracy level, so that I can just make the comparison between the different type of algorithms, okay, and which one is more suitable one, which one gives the better accuracy and precision and all. In second phase, the deep learning approach, neural network sequential model applied, and found that accuracy and processing time by applying neural network sequential was actually giving the different set of result. I will show you in upcoming slide. And then a model is created, a sequential model created, parameters fed into the system to enable and detect the unseen data, and to execute or to create the experimental setup of this whole research work. I imported Keras and sequential dense modules from Keras, so that I can work on this particular research work. And this is actually the graph that I would like to show. So this is the result. When I use the SVM, it gives only 61.40 accuracy. In KNN, it gives 93, but neural network gives me 99% based on my data set. Maybe because I have used such type of data where I have considered the artifacts on which I wanted to focus on. So based on that, I have received this accuracy, and the processing time and the complexity is also here. I can show that the processing time is also less in case of the neural network sequential algorithm, and complexity is also less. So for me, when I worked on the data set, when I tried to implement SVM, KNN, and then neural network, I found out that this one is the best one approach. And I'm actually trying to replicate this type of work in the ransomware data attack also, where I have the latest repository of the ransomware attack. So so the conclusion in my research work is that this type of research work, where we have the large data set, where we can work on the machine learning, so that we can learn the data, we can learn the pattern of the data, and if we are able to get something from the, if we are able to find out some patterns, we are able to find out some result, so that we can figure out what exactly will be will be helpful, okay, and that will actually give the very useful or potential information for the people who are working in the digital forensics domain, so that they can actually work on the detection, to create different type of patterns, to create the scripts that can detect this type of the paths, the traces from where this type of intrusion actually tries to enter into the machine. So all this are actually the based on the data set I have tried to analyze. And the future is based on this research work, based on the different type of parameter that I have used in the botnet. Now I am pretty much clear that when I want to explore this type of deep learning analysis for other type of network like ransomware where cryptocurrency is involved, I'm using similar type of experimental setup where now and I know from which protocol, which port are actually vulnerable for this ransomware attack. So I will focus on that particular fields, and I will replicate same type of research in that also, and that will be helpful.
Help you, right? It will
And that
help
will be
you.
helpful. That
Yes,
will
yes.
make a small, at least a case study. It will be helpful as a case study
Case
so
study.
that anybody can try to understand that what exactly are the entry point for this type of attacks.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, very
Thank you
good.
so much.
Very good presentation. Good. Yes, next.
Yes, ma'am. Sure. So next presenter is Vikrant Shada, and his paper title is Performance Prediction Using Support Vector Machine Kernel Functions and Course Feedback Survey Data.
Please stick to the timings.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
is
Can
your
you?
actual content? Try to explain that, focus on that instead of too many basics. Try
Yes,
to
yes.
focus on the.
Very good evening to all. I'm Dr. Vikrant from uh, Ethiopian Technical University. So my title is Performance Predictions using Support Vector Machine Functions, Kernel Functions, and Course Feedback Server Data. So these are my contents: the problem statement, introduction, machine learning, and what is classification that I used it, supervised machine, the kernel functions, the methodology and experimental interventions, results and conclusions. So what exactly the problems that I faced during my teaching learning is that recently, I think from last 4-5 years, we have started with online e-learning platforms. And we are teaching to the students with lots of utilities, the tools, the ICT platforms that we have used for, for teaching learning. And there's one more part that is the important part. While what I observe is while teaching an online things, we are not focusing that much on the feedback part. So the feedback part generally includes like the students are giving the feedback, not exactly as per that feedback exactly is not matching with the performances of the students. So when we are taking some kind of examination, the quizzes, some kind of activities, online activities, and the feedback thing is totally mismatching. So that is what I face the problems during my online teaching. So for that, what exactly the things why I chose this particular topic is like I started with using some learning management systems. Basically, it is a Moodle only. So what I actually started my process by using then online resources like quiz assignments, discussion forums, video lectures, all these things I've started. And one of the important activity was the students' feedback. So I gave some of the I included some of the parameters which are actually predefined in that particular Moodle, and that parameters I included uh, like here this one. These are some of the attributes that were present in that particular data set: relevance, reflective thinkings, interactivity, tutor support, peer support. These are some of the important attributes that I extracted from my data set. So what I want to use is the machine learning, like so that we can predict the performance of the students along with the feedback that they have given. So comparatively, if the feedback, like some of the students are giving the feedback very good, right, for the teaching learning, but ultimately the result is not good. Maybe that could be one of the gap that I used it, and I used the machine learning approach for performing my research. So one of the paper that I already presented in the
using the same similar. Now I just focus towards the support vector machine. The reason of using is, like I mentioned here, it is classification. This classification is assets. Okay. So what are the different kernel functions I've used is sigmoid. The methodology that I performed is the data set I use, the pre-processing part, feature extraction, and I use the different kernel functions and evaluated the results. So the 20% training set was used. That was and basically it is for only postgraduate students. So I'm teaching to only postgraduate students. I've collected for postgraduate students. So around 205 record sets I've collected. Still, it is in progress now because I'm current semesters and current coming semesters. Maybe we are going to use the online teaching learning. So I'm collecting this data from 2017 onwards. So then the experimental interventions, that the things that I've used for my implementation of this SVM is the Python language. I've used it, and basically the libraries, the predefined some of the libraries of scikit learn library that I've used it for implementing this kernel functions. And one of my result is one of my output variable or the response variable, and the feedback time, which will be our input vectors. Okay. So what results that we are getting after performing this implementation coding part in the Python is the linear kernel function gives the good accuracy, 93% accuracy, and next better performance by the radial based kernel function, that is 90%. So what the conclusion from this particular research, what I observe is students may progress in the right direction if this particular set, or means that if they're giving the proper feedback, and proper feedback in the sense, we can, as a teacher, we can focus on the loopholes or the areas in which we have to focus on. Maybe the online, some of the things may not be understood to the students. So the students may be progressing in the right direction in the future if it is an online teaching learning. And it also increases the students' awareness, enthusiasm, motivating them for the gain confidence, right, for using these online utilities, ICT tools and all. And we're also focusing on improving the students' performance based on the students' feedback. Okay. And what exactly the final conclusion that I got it is that the linear function of the SVM gives the better accuracy. So what is the future scope out of this is when like I said, I've started already collecting the information of 205 students, PG students. So maybe when my data set is going to increase, I'll start performing this prediction algorithms, maybe from the different unsupervised algorithms also, supervised algorithms also. And maybe after that, I'll just perform some kind of comparative analysis. And at the end, what I want to implement is maybe we can implement it with some kind of applications or the websites, the softwares that we are institutes, higher education institutes are using. We can include this particular model with this, but for this institutions, with this institution softwares, so that it will be helpful for them to predict the performances of the students online. So some of the important references that I've used, it's one of my previous research paper, that is the consideration individual feedback online learning, the fact findings, exploring ICT model teaching learning, right? So these are some of the important references that I've used it. Thank you.
So were you able to get the responses or the results as per your expectation, as per the feedback? Were you able to get the results as per the feedback is received?
So as per the, yeah, ma'am. Actually, if I'm just, it is actually again up to my assumptions. Like if I'll make the assumptions like more than some kind of criteria, 70 to 80%, 80 to 90%, 90 to so it will be my future work. Like if I'll give some kind of assumptions, and after increasing the data set, maybe the data set is going to increase for the coming years. So then again, I'll have to just focus on like whether these algorithms are giving me the accurate results. So currently the results what I'm getting is up to the 93%, because I'm implementing using these algorithms by using this Python and some class libraries of the Python language. Maybe if I'll implement
what factors you have considered for
the factors, for first important thing is Yeah. So basically, when we have observed these things, students are basically focusing on the they're just giving the feedback in the time on the time, right? They're just one minute. In 1 minute, how much parameters they can fill. So they're in a very hurry to fill up that feedback form, right? So that thing we have observed. I observed especially in my teaching learning. This feedback is different, and that when I'm considering the output, that the exams, final exam results, that is big difference. So that is why I just wanted to just from this particular training set or that particular training set or the training data set, whatever the data set I'm getting, whenever I'm producing any model afterwards, so that model should give me the accurate results of based on the performances. If they're giving in 1 minute, if they're giving the result feedback, it means the result may not be good, right? May not be they may not be passed in the examinations. If they're reading the feedback parameters properly, if they're giving the questions, reading the questions and giving the feedback properly, means they are actually they may pass the examinations, like that what I'm expecting.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So our next presenter is Chandrakala Mukku, and her paper title is A Survey of Methods and Techniques in Offline Telugu Character Segmentation and Recognition.
Ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, you can start your presentation.
Nidhi ma'am, how many presentations are left?
There is after this presentation, there is one presentation is remain.
Oh.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ma'am, now is my screen visible, ma'am?
Yes, it is visible.
Good evening, ma'am. This is Chandrakala. I'm going to give seminar on survey of methods and techniques in offline Telugu character segmentation and recognition system. This is my outline of the lecture. First, I'll explain about abstract, introduction, methodology, challenges in Telugu handwritten character segmentation and recognition, conclusion and future scope. Telugu is one of the most important language in South India. It has complicated orthography with various different character shapes, and it has that more number of characters also.
I'm
While
sorry for the
considering
interruption, but your slide is not movable.
now, ma'am,
No, sir. Yes, it is now.
is it okay now, ma'am?
Yes, it is okay. You can continue.
Okay. Many researchers have done that different segmentation approaches, connected component approach, vertical and horizontal projection profiles. And after segmentation, they have given features, they have given these characters to the different feature extraction methods. Researchers has done different feature extraction methods, statistical, structural, and transformer based feature extraction methods. So after extracting these relevant features, these features has been given to that different classifiers, and researchers used artificial neural network, SVM, KNN and CNN classifier methods to classify the offline Telugu characters. And if I consider the introduction for Telugu OCR, it is very needed to preserve old and historical documents. And by using this OCR system, we can reduce the storage space by digitization. We can save paper, save trees, as well as we can save our environment. So this OCR system can be utilized in postal services, banking services, almost all processing systems. And we could use it for forensic challenges, as well as it can use for equipment for blind people also, to convert speech system into handwritten characters into that speech. This is the methodologies researchers has been used. image acquisition system. So they consider that scanned document, and otherwise they have used the photograph. And pre-processing step, they use that noise reduction, skew correction, binarization, size normalization. So after feature extraction, they have segmented the characters into that line segment, word, and character segmentation. So after segmentation, they extracted the features using the different feature extraction methods, such structural, statistical, and transformer based feature extraction method. So these features has been given to that classifiers. Nowadays, where we have that different classifiers, SVM, KNN, ANN, and CNN classifiers. So image acquisition system for basically for offline character recognition system, paper is scanned. After scanning the paper, from the characters, we have to given it to the pre-processing stage. So in pre-processing, researchers used first noise removal. Why? Because after taking the characters in offline, so there must be a noise because of the poor quality of the paper or scanning devices. So that's why then we need to remove the noise. After removal, then they consider the different binarization techniques. Because of the poor quality also, we could not separate the characters from the background. So they used that binarization methods. After binarization, they have used that skew correction method. So why? Because by human interpretation or machine interpretation, we will not get correct angle data. So we need to correct that skew angle. Then we have to resize it to reduce the complexity of the system. We have to resize the image. These are the steps researchers has been used. Then after pre-processing, they used that segmentation methods to extract the text lines. They used that horizontal projection profile. To segment the characters, they have used that vertical projection profile for words as well as the characters. And they also used that connected component approach for segmentation.
Still only
So
your outline, please just a minute. Still only your outline slide is viewed. You can see only your outline slide.
Okay. No.
It is visible but not movable. You in which slide you were?
A segmentation slide, ma'am.
No, there is not a segmentation.
Okay, you can then conclude your work.
So actually, I have done that survey on Telugu handwritten character segmentation and recognition, different feature extraction methods, and I have studied. And from the different feature extraction methods, I observed the different problems or challenges in Telugu handwritten character segmentation and recognition. So very less research has been done in South Indian languages like Tamil, Telugu, and Kannada. So why? Because there is no standard database for these languages. The research has been done only on a few characters because few characters, most of the Telugu characters are similar, and recognizing such characters is a highly challenging task. One of the most challenging problem with handwritten document segmentation is touching character. The presence of touching character in the scanned document further complicates the segmentation process. Overlapping of lines and variables gaps between the words and characters is very complex. Thereby, the segmentation and recognition is very difficult. And one more problem is irregular handwriting makes problem to group characters as well as determine the relationship between the characters. Non-uniformity in spacing of the characters within a word due to presence of consonant conjuncts is also the problem in Telugu handwritten characters. And several Telugu characters are high rate of similarity. This makes character classification problem as well as the recognition problem. Conclusion and future scope. Recognition accuracy is basically affected by the character style, writing style, distorted strokes, similar characters, variable character thickness, illumination, data set quality. Many of the researchers obtained very low accuracy because of the lack of data set for Telugu handwritten characters. This research has been expanded to improve the recognition accuracy by properly segmenting the characters, employing hybrid feature extraction methods and hybrid classification approaches. And feature optimization techniques also can improve the classification accuracy and lowering the computational burden of the recognition system. Incorporating neural network into an application for handwritten text-to-speech conversion, thereby we can improve the scope of this character recognition system. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. So our next presenter is Shagun Sinha, and her paper title is on an overview of Indian language datasets used for text summarization.
Oh, yes. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, ma'am.
Right. I'll share my screen in just a bit. I cannot get an access to share my screen. I don't know why. Hello. I cannot see an option. Oh, right. Sorry.
There is a one green.
Yeah. Just yeah, I'm sorry. I've not used Zoom for a long time. Yeah. I hope my screen is visible now.
Yes, it is visible.
Right. Hello, everyone. My name is Shagun Sinha. I am from Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi. I'm going to quickly present my paper, which is a survey and overview of Indian language datasets used for text summarization. This is going to be the format of my presentation. I'll quickly go through the background. The field that I work in is called computational linguistics or natural language processing. This field develops models that can analyze and process natural languages. In this, there is a field called text summarization, in which we work to produce machines, develop algorithms that can summarize natural language text, written text. Currently, as most of the papers have also here indicated, this is the age of course, machine learning, in which for any task, numerical or natural language, you need large data sets. And computational linguistics requires language data. So in this NLP, I'm working in the area of text summarization, and I want to focus on the data sets of text summarization. That's the broad area of my research. Now, when I talk of language data sets, I say that machine learning needs new data sets, huge data sets. Text summarization requires for supervised machine learning, text summarization data sets are required. And there are many such data sets in English, Chinese, and such similar other languages. English and languages which are very highly digitally present are called high resource languages. And Indian languages are low resource because their content on the internet or otherwise digitally is very low. So if somebody like me wants to develop a text summarization system for Indian languages, how do I get a data set? That was my broad area of a problem that I observed initially, which is why I have this paper today. And the reason why English has many data sets is first, it has a lot of data on the internet, but also because since the early 2000s, research groups, majorly in the US, have regularly developed training and testing data sets for English. So in the present day, in 2022, English has a lot of advantage in text summarization when it comes to machine learning. You can easily train an algorithm. Currently, also many people are working. So in Indian languages, the problem is there are some data sets, but we don't really know what is the status of data set development in Indian languages for text summarization. Given this background, my research question is the pool of Indian language text summarization data set, ILTS, is it growing or is it marred by resource poverty? To answer this question, I compare it with English data sets. And I survey the data sets in Indian languages to compare their status and characteristics with English data sets. And I also observe if the Indian language data sets are growing. So my observations, I'll just quickly give my observations and then move to the survey. My conclusion from this survey was that ILTS data sets are similar to the English data sets on two fronts. First, their domains are the same. Most of the Indian language data sets are developed from news text, just as English data sets are also developed. But Indian language data sets are not growing as much as they could have. My argument, therefore, is why are Indian language data sets coming from news domain? It's because news articles and headlines are easy to capture. If they are there, if some news headline is there already on the internet, you can easily capture it and use the headline as the summary of the news article. That's the easy way out for most researchers. And just like English data sets, most Indian language data sets are also used in extractive as well as abstractive tasks. I'll explain that in the question and answer round. Sorry, I'll not waste time on this. But the major problem that Indian language data sets face is that they're not growing, they're not expanding. Why? Because those data sets are not released for public access by researchers. And second, even if somebody wanted to release like earlier in the early 2000s, but there was no forum. There were many forums developed in India for Indian language data sets and machine translation or other NLP tasks, but not for text summarization ever. Given this answer, that was my answer that I found after the survey, I will just present my evidence. This is the English data sets, the high resource language data sets. The different platforms that have developed such data sets since early 2000s that I mentioned include the Data Understanding Conferences, Text Retrieval Conference, a consortium called the Linguistic Data Consortium. So there are other names also. I've only mentioned 3. Others are there in my paper. The data sets that came out of such platforms include the DUC, the Data Understanding Conference data sets, the GigaWord, XSum, CNN Daily Mail, MLSum, and Big Patent. Now, if I could request my audience to kindly have a look at the yellow and the blue highlighted portions. If you observe, most of these data sets come from the news domain. This is for English that I'm talking of. So even from early 2010s till now, till 2020, the news data set has dominated. There are, of course, exceptions like Big Patent, but my observation says that news data sets are very commonly used and cited. And the second observation is they are there in English, but they're also there in Turkish, Russian, and MLSum is also present in German, French, and some other European languages. Big Patent is an exception to the news domain. It is in English only, but it's a collection of medical records. Now, for Indian language data sets, I focus, now given that was the background in English, for Indian language data sets, I have focused on the 22 scheduled languages of the Indian constitutions. I could not find any text summarization efforts in these 6 languages. After this, like apart from this, there are some text summarization data sets as reported in these papers. I will, since we are running short of time, I'll just mention these. These are some of the data sets in these languages, Assamese and Bengali. These are the authors. The red portion is for the domain and the data set that they have reported in these papers. Okay. Again, barring the NCTB books or the monolingual Punjabi corpus, most of the papers come from either news articles or from BBC, which is again a news domain. But of course, the BBC corpus was first translated in Malayalam for Malayalam text summarization. Similarly, Kannada for papers in Kannada, the dataset details are not clear. It's there in the paper, my paper, but I have not mentioned it on the presentation. Konkani has a folk tales dataset. Sanskrit has only one dataset effort so far, but using Wikipedia data, and that even is not a text summarization corpus. And so on and so forth, news corpus and other sources. I'll be happy to take questions on this in the Q&A. So if you observe, news corpus is also present in the ILTS datasets so far. But do you know what is the one thing that these papers have collectively not done? these papers have not made their data sets public. So I go to a research paper, I read it, but where do I get the data from? How do I verify if they have indeed developed the data set? And that, my dear audience, is my argument that the ILTS data set pool is not growing because the research work is not making data sets public. And if you have the data set, you cannot verify them. I cannot go and verify them. There are, of course, exceptions to this: Hindi, Urdu, and a recent text summarization dataset in Bengali by Hassan et al. These are the only 3 languages with only these 3 corpora that are public, okay? And therefore, these provide some ray of hope, but majorly Indian language datasets are not made public. It is because most of the platforms like TDIL and ILCI, which was a language data development initiative by the government of India, none of them have ever paid attention to text summarization. So while NLP, like machine translation and other tools have developed for Indian languages, TES is still lonely. Text summarization data sets are not enough. This survey took place because we wanted to know, I and my co-author wanted to know how is it developed, what is the status. We cannot only depend on algorithms. You need data set to develop a text summarization for Indian language in the first place. In the absence of data, I have a hunch that most researchers do not go into the direction of Indian language text summarization because the data sets are not there with them. So how will they use the algorithm on them? So that, in my opinion, is the biggest bottleneck. And that is where I would like to end my presentation, and questions are most welcome. Thank you.
A nice presentation. Shagun, can you tell me what strategy you adopted to find out such data sets?
Yes, ma'am. So I used a methodology similar to that of another author called Nazar et al., whom I have cited. They use citation search. So did I. I first gave a search like Indian language plus the text summarization keywords on Google Scholar. That was my first approach. And second, I reviewed the platforms, the Indian language NLP platforms, say TDIL or ILCI, other platforms. And of course, there was nothing to be found there. And therefore, the focus of my research is on academic works on the 22 constitutional languages.
Have you used any SLR or something to find out the required data sets?
No, ma'am. It was only for this.
Okay.
I was limited.
In future, if you want to, work for this, you can use SLR approach, because in finding such data sets and the required information, it will be of your great help.
Okay, sure, ma'am. SLR is it? Okay.
SLR.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ma'am, could I, thank you. And could I, is it possible to contact you if that's okay with you?
You can contact me at ruchi.nanda@iisunif.ac.in. iisunif.ac. Yes. iisunif.ac.in.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you so much, Shagun Sinha, for this excellent presentation. So, thank you very much to our all authors for their excellent presentation and for their great contribution to these sessions. And thank you to all our participants for participating in this conference. I hope this session was informative enough to all. All the presenters would be getting their digital certificates through email within 2 working days. Further, all the papers have already been submitted to the Swinger, and publication will be live within 5 to 6 months. So kindly cooperate with the team of ICTIS 2022. And on behalf of Team ICTIS 2022 and Global Knowledge Research Foundation, I would like to thank our session chair, Professor Ruchi Nanda. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your valuable presence and for valuable remarks for the authors. And here is a token of your appreciation.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Rajita. Thank you to the team, Amit sir, Meher sir. Thank you all for inviting me as session chair. all the
It is our pleasure to invite
yes,
you.
all the
as a-
papers were well presented. I think the session was wonderful in terms of knowledge gain.
Yes, it is a very informative session.
Yes, yes.
So end of the session, I kindly request to all, please turn on your camera to quick snapshot of this virtual conference for good memory. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much all. Stay safe. Take care.